You are probably stuck in the nicest trap there is. You don't offend people. You say the right things at the right time. You smile, you nod, you show up. And yet, something feels off. People like you, but nobody needs you. You're invited to things, but you're never the person someone calls at 11 p.m. when everything falls apart. You are present in every room, but you leave no trace in any of them. You are, essentially, a background character in your own social life. And here is what makes that painful. You're not doing anything wrong. You are doing exactly what you were taught. Be kind. Be agreeable. Don't cause conflict. Make people comfortable. But that's the trap. Here's the science behind it. Your brain developed social anxiety for a very specific reason: survival. In early human tribes, being rejected wasn't just embarrassing. It was deadly. No tribe meant no food, no protection, no future. So your brain wired itself to detect rejection the same way it detects physical danger. That drop in your stomach before a difficult conversation, that's not weakness. That's your nervous system doing exactly what it was built to do. The problem is that it's 2026, not 26,000 BC. The threat isn't real anymore, but the behavior it created, still very much here. You default to agreeable. You keep things shallow. You ask, how's work? How's the family? 10 times a day and actually learn nothing about anyone. And the relationships stay thin. But before we fix this, I need to open a loop. There is one specific social habit. It is so completely counterintuitive that your first reaction will be to think it's sabotaging your relationships. But it is actually the most efficient filter for finding high-quality people. I'll show you exactly how to use it at the end of this video. But first, we need to understand why everything you've been taught about being nice is quietly destroying your social life right now. Let's talk about the me filter. When you feel anxious in a conversation, your focus collapses inward. Did I say something weird? Am I standing too close? Are they bored? Your entire mental bandwidth gets consumed by your own internal monologue. And here's the brutal truth about that. You cannot read a room when you're reading yourself. The other person doesn't know what you're thinking, but they feel it. Your nervous energy is contagious. When your attention is on yourself, they feel like they're talking to a wall with a face. The conversation flatlines, and you walk away wondering what went wrong. Now, let's talk about the empathy mistake. Someone comes to you venting, bad day at work, a fight with their partner, something heavy. And your instinct? Oh, I totally get it. One time I went through something similar, and what I did was, or, look on the bright side at least. You think you're helping, you are not. Relating is not connecting, it's hijacking. The moment you pivot to your own story, you've just taken their moment and made it yours. You've signaled, without meaning to, that their pain made you uncomfortable, and your priority was escaping that discomfort. Not them, you. The same applies to advice. When someone is in emotional pain and you immediately offer a solution, you're not solving their problem. You're solving your own discomfort with their pain, and they feel the difference, even if they can't name it. Now, here's the one that stings the most: the cost of faking it. Most people hide their real opinions to keep the peace. You soften your edges, you agree when you don't agree, you laugh at things you don't find funny. You think this makes people like you more. What it actually does is produce a slow, quiet type of rejection. You end up surrounded by people who like a version of you that doesn't exist. They don't know your actual opinions, your real humor, what you actually believe. And the loneliness that creates, being surrounded by people but still completely unseen, is one of the most disorienting feelings a person can experience. The good news is that all three of these problems have the same root cause, and that root cause has a direct solution. It's called radical receptivity. Let's build it from the ground up. Pillar 1, the matching principle. Every conversation is actually 3 conversations happening at the same time. There's the practical layer, problem solving, logistics, facts. There's the emotional layer, how someone feels about what's happening. And there's the social layer, identity, values, what someone wants to be seen as. Most awkward conversations, and most arguments, aren't caused by disagreement. They're caused by a mismatch in layers. You're having a practical conversation. They're having an emotional one. Nobody's wrong, but nothing connects. The fix is simple. Stop asking about facts. Start asking about how facts feel. Instead of, where do you work? Try, what's the part of your job that actually gets you out of bed? Instead of, where are you from? Try, what do you actually miss about growing up there? These questions break people out of autopilot. They force a genuine answer. And something interesting happens neurologically. When someone shares something real with you, their brain experiences a small release of vulnerability. That vulnerability creates connection. It makes them want to share more. And it creates something called reciprocal disclosure. They feel pulled to ask you something real back. You didn't force intimacy. You created the conditions for it. Pay close attention here, because what comes next is the most counterintuitive concept in this entire video. Your brain is going to resist it. It goes against every instinct you have, but if you can master this one uncomfortable skill, you will be able to hold an entire room without saying a single word. Pillar 2. The art of holding space. The most charismatic thing you can do in a conversation is absolutely nothing. When someone shares something heavy, a loss, a failure, something they've never said out loud, your instinct is to respond, to fix, advise, relate, redirect. That instinct feels generous. It is not. Here's what actually happens when someone shares deep emotion. Often it comes out flat. No tears, no dramatic pauses, just words, delivered almost robotically. That's dissociation, the brain's way of protecting itself from feeling everything at once. They're testing the waters before they let themselves go there. If you interrupt with advice, even kind advice, they will say, "Yeah, I know, I'm fine," and close back up. You failed the test without realizing there was one. If you hold the silence, if you stay present, make eye contact, and don't rush to fill the space, something shifts. Their own emotion catches up with their words. They start to actually feel what they're saying. And in that moment, you become something rare, not a fixer, not an advisor, a safe place. People don't forget safe places. They come back to them. They protect them. They tell other people about them. Here's the practical execution. When someone shares something hard, resist the urge to speak for at least 3 to 5 seconds. Nod slowly. Let your face show that you're absorbing it. You can say, "Tell me more about that." Not because you need information, but because you are giving them permission to keep going. That phrase alone communicates more care than most people express in entire friendships. Silence is not awkward. Premature words are awkward. Learn to sit in the pause, and you become one of the rarest people someone will ever meet. Pillar 3. Context banking and the 70-30 rule. Let them talk 70% of the time. You talk 30. This sounds simple. It's not. Because most people, when they feel the conversation dipping, rush to fill it with their own stories, opinions, updates. It feels like contribution. It's actually displacement. Here's why the 70-30 rule works on a chemical level. When humans talk about themselves, the brain releases dopamine, the same neurochemical triggered by eating great food or receiving money. You are literally giving someone a chemical reward by listening to them. They associate that reward with you. They don't consciously know why they feel good around you. They just do. Now, while they're talking, you're not passive. You are context banking. Every detail they share is a deposit. A sick dog, a job interview next week, a sister who's been difficult, a trip they've been saving for. You bank it. You say nothing about it in the moment. You just absorb. And then, 3 days later, you text, "Hey, how did that interview go?" That's it. That's the whole move. But what it communicates is enormous. It says, "I wasn't just waiting for my turn to speak. I was actually listening. I was actually storing your reality. You matter enough for me to remember." Most people have never experienced that. Not consistently. When you give it to them, they don't know how to explain what they feel. They just know they trust you faster than they've trusted almost anyone. Surface-level friendships take years to build that. Context banking builds it in weeks. You now know how to match conversation layers, hold space, and context bank. That is powerful. But if you stop here and only use what you've just learned, you will fall into one of the most exhausting social traps that exists. You will become the therapist friend, the emotional dumping ground, the person people need but never truly respect. To prevent that, and to finally close the loop I opened at the beginning of this video, you need this last piece. Pillar 4. Rejection as an efficiency tool. Here's the counterintuitive truth I promised you at the start. A great social life requires you to get rejected more often. Not sought, rejected. Stop smoothing every edge. Stop nodding at opinions you disagree with. Start saying the thing you actually think, respectfully, clearly, without apology. Be polarizing, not aggressive, not cruel, just honest. Here's the reframe. Rejection is not a failure. Rejection is a sorting algorithm. It is the most efficient technology you have for finding your actual people. When you express a real opinion and someone pulls away, they were never your person. You just found out in 30 seconds instead of 2 years. That is not a loss. That is a win. The people who stay, the ones who lean in when you push back, who get energized when you say something real, those are your tribe, and they only find you when you give them something real to respond to. A version of you with no edges attracts no one. A version of you that stands for something attracts exactly the right ones. Polarize the room, let the wrong people leave, and watch who stays. We live in the loudest era in human history. Everyone is broadcasting, nobody is receiving. If you can become the one person in the room who turns off their own ego, matches where someone actually is, holds space for the weight they're carrying, and remembers the details nobody else bothered to remember, people won't just like you. They will be magnetically drawn to you. They won't always know why, but you will. Your homework today is simple. Find one person. Ask them one real question about how something feels, not what happened, how it feels. Then let them talk. Don't fill the silence. Watch what happens to their face. Watch how they treat you after. That shift you're about to feel, that's what this skill actually does. If this changed the way you think about connection, subscribe, because every week I break down the psychological patterns that determine how people see you, treat you, and remember you. Hit like if any of this landed, and drop in the comments. Which of these 4 pillars did you need the most? I read every single one. The loudest person in the room is rarely the most powerful. The one who knows how to listen. That's the one people can't stop thinking about.